Okay, guys, this is Emily. This is the October 2025 real estate market update for Seattle. And we are looking at just the city of Seattle. If you are living in a surrounding area like Everett, Bellevue, Tacoma, etc., somewhere in the Puget Sound, you can use these as a proxy for the area that you live. Seattle has a high housing density. Well, some things are the same, some things are different based on where you live, but this will give you a general idea of the trends. And then as if we get people joining us here in the chat who want to suggest or request a specific area that we'd like to dive in deeper, then we can switch over to the MLS and take a look at some of that information. So as we can see here, basically what we're looking at is trends, seasonal trends over the last couple of years. And this particular slide is the average sales price for residential property. So this is single family homes. It is not condos. The red dotted line is 2022, which, as you may recall, was the year that interest rates got really cranked up. And so we went from the COVID excess to the market really crashed, really slowed down on us in the second half of the year. These are the other intervening years, and the solid red line here at the top is the current year, 2025. Now, what we are seeing here is that in 2025, the average home price is high. It's above all of these other years, okay? So we're doing really great from a price perspective overall. Homes are retaining value. Homes have been gaining value over the past couple of years. And unfortunately, that has started to slow down this last couple of months. We've kind of been falling since July. Closings in July were our peak, went under contract in June, closed in July. And now the market has been softening and softening. And now we're actually under where we were in the gray year, 2024. We're down 3.25%. From where we were at this time last year. So that's an interesting change. This was a little peak last September, maybe a little bit anomalous if we follow the general line of the curve. Oops, we're still ahead of where we were, or where we expect to be, but this is sloping down quite steeply, steeper than we would expect. So despite a good year, things have slowed down and are continuing to slow down. It says at the bottom, the average sales price for residential units is down 7% from last month. So from September to August, down 7%. The average home price for a single family home in Seattle is still high, $1.116 million. And we are down 3% from where we were a year ago. So if you would have sold last year at this time, you would have made more money. Okay, let's look at the next slide. This is units for sale. So this is when we say inventory, or how many homes are on the market right now. This is what we're talking about. This is a representation of how many homes buyers have to choose from. So if I'm a buyer and I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house in Seattle in this price range, in previous years, maybe I only had 7 to choose from, or maybe 10 came on the market, but they were all sold by the next week. Now we have more homes to choose from. We can go tour more property. We can see more homes on the market, and we can decide, do we want to choose from those, or do we want to wait for something else to come? And generally what this means when we look at economics, we have supply and demand. We have a very high supply of homes right now. So even if demand were constant, when we have a high supply of homes, that tends to exert downward pressure on prices. So this is the red line, again, representing this year. We peaked with the most inventory available, the most units for sale in June. A lot of people list in May, and then their homes are still on the market in June as buyers start to have slowed down. So we peaked in June, and then through the summer, we were going through that inventory. And now, as we would expect in Seattle, more homes are listed in September. July and August tend to be particularly slow months for us in the summer. I don't know, everyone's out of school, they go on vacation, they're at the beach, they're not shopping for homes. And so even though everyone thinks, oh, we want to buy a house in summer, that's when the buyers are going to be looking while their kids are out of school. In Seattle, the statistics show spring tends to be our strongest market, and fall is kind of the echo market here. And so we do expect to see more listings come on the market in September and close in October and November. We've got 2 good months here. So what we can see, kind of following the lines of previous years, we actually had a big hump. We had a lot of inventory this spring. And so that means people were listing homes faster than they were being bought up. So I'm guessing here a lot of previous people who might have thought about selling felt locked in by those interest rates. If they were going to sell, they would have sold during the COVID times. So for the last couple of years, we've had very low inventory levels, and now everyone was ready to put their house on the market. So a lot of listings, but also we've been seeing a lot more canceled listings this year from sellers who could not get the prices that they wanted on their homes for sale. So looking at this, let's see, this differential here, 25.9% more inventory, a quarter more inventory, and this is at 200, it's not at 0. So we had 25.9% more inventory this year than last year. So we have a lot of homes, a high supply of homes, pretty consistently above the average for the whole of the year. And that's somewhat typical. We do expect in an election year. Remember, last November was when we were electing Trump again. And so typically in an election year, there's a lot of uncertainty. People don't know what's going to be happening with the new administration. So a lot of things kind of tend to shut down in the fall of an election year, and people wait to list and sell their home in the spring following that. So we did have some revisiting of that, but even so, this is what was happening. So there were 1,431 residential units available for sale at the end of the month of September 25, and this was an increase of 12% from August. So we had a big 12% increase in inventory from August to September, and we had a 25% increase in inventory from last year to this year at the same time. Okay, now we're looking at condominiums. Condominiums, I'm not going to go into as much detail. They've been running very slow. A lot of days on market, a lot of downward price pressure, but a lot of the MLS data is hard to interpret here because they've added so many DADUs and other types of inventory to the mix that's not really being differentiated. It's making the data harder to interpret. Okay, now this is back to residential, single family homes, month by month, year over year. This is units pending. So this is under contract, but not yet finalized, closed, sold. And what we have here, this red line, you could see in the spring of 2022, it was going full steam, and then it really tanked after they increased the interest rates. Now this year, 2025, we're following the same general curve as other years, with a lift or a departure here over the summer, with more closings happening over the summer than we would typically expect. It fell in August, and now it's back up again in September. So overall, we're doing better with more homes going under contract than we have over the last couple of years. So that's great. Let's see, this differential is 6.6%. So the number of pending residential units rose to 626 units, which is a 15% increase over where we were last year. I'm sorry, over where we were last month, 15% up from August to September, and the number of pending is 6.5% up over where we were last year. So in general, more transactions are happening this year. In the condo market, that's not the case. The number of pending condos is up 5.5% from August to September. The number of pending units is increased by 21% compared to where we were last year. It looks like it's going to be here. So finally, more condos going under contract. Residential units sold. So in some parts of the country, they are seeing a large number of units fall out of contract. Up to 1/3 of the homes that go pending do not close. And our interpretation of that at our Keller Williams Greater Seattle office has been a lot of it may be around new construction homes and people, under contract for 6 or 9 months, not closing, maybe something happening in the economy or with pricing of those homes. They choose not to close on something that they have under contract. In this case, that's not a problem in Seattle. And if we look right here, we can see the number of sold residential units. So again, we're on this red line